A cancer diagnosis is never easy. Facing that diagnosis alone is even more difficult. That's why a dedicated group of volunteers has, for years, committed themselves to stitching together some hope for those undergoing cancer treatment.
Quilts That Care, a benefiting name for the local nonprofit whose mission is to wrap cancer patients and their families in comfort and hope, one quilt at a time.
We give quilts to 15 facilities in the state of Connecticut, and we have surpassed 4,600 quilts.
The organization got its start in 2012 when founder Deb Van Steenbergen's husband was diagnosed with cancer.
We would sit together waiting for him for his treatments, and I saw the same people every day. You went at the same time every day, and you see the same patients there. And there were people that came alone and left alone. And it really bothered me that going through something so difficult as a cancer treatment and to be by yourself. How could I comfort these people? What can I do for them?
She decided to put her sewing abilities to use and found out rather quickly that there were lots of others willing to use their time and talents to support her idea.
Well, at the time I joined, I had been dealing with cancer myself, so it was kind of a way to give back as far as I was concerned. I felt very lucky. And then I've had so many friends, and now my brother is dealing with cancer, and just the way it gives back like no other way that I know of. And I can touch so many lives without knowing people and just helping some way to comfort people.
I love doing it. I love to teach, so that's kind of where I am back here, usually teaching or helping somebody, and I just love it. I love them to be happy and to see the reward of what they made, and you don't have to worry, nothing has to be perfect, so you come in and do what you can do, and we'll help you with the rest.
The quilt making process is made simple thanks to a team of dedicated volunteers. Some inspect donated fabric for suitability, pre-cut it into patterns, and then bundle the pieces together. Other volunteers take these fabric kits and work on the quilt at home.
Initially, when I began making quilts with Quilts That Care, I went with some patterns that they suggested or that I happened to have. Then it got to the point where I was just grabbing fabrics, and whatever would come to mind based on what the fabrics look like, then I would create something. Now I'm kind of the scrap queen around here, and gather up all the scraps that are too small to put in our stacks and just sit with a bag of scraps and see what I can come up with.
The unique thing that has happened over the years is that we make a quilt for somebody and they'll come back to us and they'll say, "How did you know I like sailing?" And we don't. Or they're like, "How did you know that my favorite colors are, green and blue?" And this is the quilt I got. It's sort of a strange coincidence that it happens. I had a young man tell me he was in his 20s and he had a 2-year-old child, and he was the one that had cancer, and he said that once he overcame the cancer, him and his son would use the quilt as their superhero cape.
And there are many more stories like that.
Dear Quilts That Care, while I was sitting through my chemo treatment last week, a nurse approached me and presented me with the beautiful quilt that you made. I can't even begin to describe the feeling that came over me. Your gesture represents a community of caring and offers a feeling of support and comfort. I truly find encouragement and strength in your kindness.
Dear Quilts That Care, my husband was in Mid-State Hospital in Meriden and received the most beautiful quilt. He did pass away, but I'll always remember the tears that came to his eyes when the quilt was given to him. Quilts That Care shows love.
With every stitch, these folks know that they're just a little closer to making someone with cancer feel loved.
I never dreamt this 9 years ago. I thought we'd be at the Lever Center making a few quilts. It has been the most amazing. I've met the most amazing people along the way, and people are good.
And although Deb didn't know it, her husband had faith that this organization would take off. And just under 5,000 quilts later, his words were proven to be true.
It's just truly amazing, the response from people who give a box of fabric to who makes these most gorgeous quilts. The quilts are so amazing. I don't know how sometimes they make them and then they say, well, That's what makes it so beautiful, that they can turn around and give it to someone we don't know. And they're made with so much love. You can feel it in the quilt.
If you'd like to get involved with Quilts That Care or support their mission, learn more by visiting our website, ortv.org, and click on Crossroads Magazine under the Links tab. Well, that about wraps up this edition of Crossroads Magazine. I'm Father John Gatzak. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with another edition of Crossroads Magazine as we bring you the people, personalities, and events making news from around the crossroads of Connecticut. And once again, a blessed Christmas to you and Happy New Year.